Hi, Democrats. Today is Tuesday, May 24th, and it's time for the Chair's Daily Live. It's Tuesday. So every day I get up in the morning and I try to decide what am I going to bring to Democrats in my life today. And I want to bring information that helps you be able to vote, be it through educating you on the voting process or educating you on what's going on in our legislature currently, or telling you about candidates. And then the news of the day interrupts what my plan is. That happens quite often, and it happened today. Today, at an elementary school in Texas, 14 children were shot and one teacher. Well, 14 children were killed and one teacher at an elementary school in Texas. I did not wake up this morning with the plans of talking to you about that, and I really, really, really hate to talk about children whose lives have been taken at any stage. But I have to talk about it today. I was planning to follow up yesterday. Yesterday, I talked about reminding you how to vote, how to apply for your absentee ballot, how to check and make sure that your polling place hasn't changed and that your precinct has changed, particularly if you live in my county, or if your precinct has changed. That's what I was planning to talk about. I was going to follow up on that because I'm still here with my visuals, my voter's registration card, and my absentee ballot. And then children got killed in a mass shooting. And so what I would normally do is change what I was going to talk about. Today, I'm still going to talk about why it's important to vote, but I'm going to center it on those 14 deceased children and that deceased teacher in South Texas. It is important that we vote every time. Every time that your precinct is open for you to vote, you need to cast a vote. These kinds of things happen as a result of someone either voting or not voting. It's that simple. When you live in a state that worships guns, that prohibits any kind of prohibition on guns, any kind of reasonable common sense gun laws, this is what happens. This isn't about a good guy with a gun. This isn't about we can't regulate guns because criminals will still have guns. This is about the fact that we glorify guns and we refuse to institute common sense gun laws. And so now we have 14 dead children, 14 additional dead children, because there are other kids who have gotten shot all over the nation. But we have 14 kids at an elementary school and a teacher that are dead. Whatever crazy laws they pass in Texas, and they pass crazy laws in Texas, we take those laws in Oklahoma and we make them more crazy. And so whenever something happens in Texas, I think, oh my gosh, how long before it happens where I live? It is important that we vote every time the precinct is open. Every single time. This is a result of Republicans keeping their promise. Their promise is they're not going to restrict guns in any kind of way, and this is what we got. They keep that promise. Anytime anybody mentions we need to restrict who can get a gun, we need to restrict how quickly it takes you to get a gun. Anytime we say that, their rights. And so now we have a gunman who was able to kill 14 kids and a teacher at an elementary school today. They keep their promises. So they're not coming for your guns. They're coming for your kids. They're coming for your education. That's what Republicans are coming for. They're coming to defund your education. They're coming to make sure that guns are available at every given turn, including at schools. They're there to make sure that the most right, the most zealot in their party. Because I live in Oklahoma, I have Republican friends. I know that they don't all think this way, but the most fringe element is who gets the attention in that party right now. That's who's getting the attention, the most fringe element, because reasonable people of all stripes, and if you talk to the reasonable Democrats in your life, I mean Republicans in your life, they will tell you, no, I think it makes sense that we have common sense gun laws. But that's not what our legislators are doing. It's not what our legislators are doing by far, because we're kowtowing to the fringe on the right. It breaks my heart to think about it, but I am more motivated to remind people, to encourage you, request your absentee ballot. At the minimum, it will allow you the opportunity to research your ballot. And I remind you that there are judges on your ballot this year. Request your absentee ballot, research that ballot so that you know, and then cast your ballot. I don't care if you do it by absentee ballot. I wish you would, because then you're not bound by a day and time. Request your absentee ballot. You can go in person early, but cast your vote, because this is what happens. This is a result of folks who vote for zealots and folks who don't vote because they want to give up. So today I was on Twitter, and a popular entertainer from my day when I was a teenager posted on Twitter, "Why should we vote?" And that's what I plan to talk about today. Why should we vote? And I had a whole list of other things that I'm not going to talk about because I want to focus on what happened today. We should vote because what happened today, we're going to hear about why they did it and what their excuse was and what their family members knew and what their neighbors knew. We're going to hear all of that crap. None of that matters to me. What matters to me is this happened because somebody didn't vote and we let a zealot in, or somebody voted for the zealot, or somebody knew that there was a zealot and went ahead and reelected them. This is how this happens. Voting is more important today. And I know we say it every time, but it is more important today because now at this point in our democracy, in this experiment that we call America, we see what can go wrong. We've let it go wrong for so long. We see what can go wrong. And that's why every single election becomes more and more consequential. It's that simple. We cannot continue to let guns be willy-nilly. We can't. We absolutely can't. And full disclosure for anybody who's watching it and they're thinking, she's this person who hates guns. I don't personally have a gun because I decided that I don't need a gun. It's just that simple, right? I'm not a gun person. I don't want a gun for me. But I'm not coming into your house and telling you that you shouldn't have a gun, or your neighbor. Or I was raised in a house where everybody who made sure I got fed as a kid had to carry a gun for their living. So I'm not anti-gun. I'm anti just willy-nilly guns. I think asking for common sense gun laws shouldn't be a radical, shouldn't be an outlandish idea. 14 children, one teacher killed at an elementary school today. Yes, I am going to make it political. Yes, I am going to make it about voting because it is a direct result of voting or not voting. It's that simple. And who we have in our state legislature, every single time someone says, well, maybe our background check should be, they come in and they slam it down and say, nope, we want to be a Second Amendment sanctuary state. And anytime you want to say anything about guns, they threaten you or they accuse you of being anti-Second Amendment. Folks, I beg you, research the candidates. Find out which candidates are for common sense gun laws. Common sense gun laws. I'm not talking about coming to anybody's house and taking their gun. I'm talking about common sense gun laws. Common sense gun laws are what keep many guns out of the hand. Most of the criminals who have guns aren't buying them through some they're stealing them and they're getting them from their friends who are getting them from someone who hasn't been taking care of most of the guns, or someone who's not taking care of the guns at their homes. That the guns aren't being secured, that everybody knows where the guns are. They're leaving them in their car. That's how criminals are getting guns. If we had common sense gun laws, I think that would reduce as well. We must focus. We must register to vote, and then we must vote for folks who believe in common sense gun laws. I don't have to say what side of the aisle they're on, because I want to remind you that there are some reasonable Republicans in the world. I can't name them right now, but I don't like to say all and most. I just want to say, research the candidates, okdemocrats.org candidates, research the candidates, and vote for and hold our candidates to the standard of common sense gun laws. My heart breaks for the family of those in Texas. I don't know that I have very many thoughts and prayers left. I really just want some legislation. I want some votes and some legislation. So make sure that you check your registration and that you remain registered to vote, because this was a purge year and there were a lot of people purged. Check your registration. Make sure you're still registered to vote. Make sure you know what your districts are and where your precinct is. And after you take care of you, the next 10 people you talk to, make sure that they're registered to vote and they know where they're supposed to vote. Thanks for joining me. I will be back here tomorrow at 4:15.